Botani, and welcome to the Sheds. We're back again. It's that time of the century where people are making promises, touting to govern the country. Everyone is ready to contribute and make a difference in the country. Today we're shedding light on Action SA.
Let me jump in there. As your chairperson of Action SA in Gauteng, and I think one of your roles is to grow the support. I mean, we are a few months away. How would you then turn around the low turn up or the participation of in terms of voting? How will you do that, especially among young people?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, we need to look at our own voters and see how we turn them out on the day of election.
Yes.
We have been canvassing, we've been campaigning since the People's Dialogue. We have not stopped campaigning since when Herman Mashaba resigned and started the People's Dialogue, and then Action SA was born. Since then, we have been on the ground, and that's why we've got close to about 250,000 members, registered members with membership numbers.
Is this the national or Gauteng?
This is a national.
Okay.
This is a national.
Key to every election by every political party or independent candidate is money. Action SA is one of those parties that have appeared moneyed. It's out there, it's on billboards, it's on everywhere. How does Action SA raise money, or where does the Action SA money come from?
Sure, our volunteers are fighting with us. We don't have gazebos as we speak now. We don't
Action
have,
SA, no
we
gazebos.
don't have T-shirts. We're struggling. We are one of the unfortunate parties because people compare us with established organizations. We are punching beyond our weight, basically, because people think that we are ANC and DA competitors. Therefore, we must have. But the honest truth is that money comes from our donors. Most of them local people who, because the Act says only local people can donate.
Botani, and welcome to the Sheds. We're back again. It's that time of the century where people are making promises, touting to govern the country. Everyone is ready to contribute and make a difference in the country. Today we're shedding light on Action SA. We're joined by its Gauteng Chairperson, Funzi Ngobeni. Woman,
welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Good, man.
You are the Chairperson of Action SA in Gauteng.
That's correct, yeah.
Gauteng has just over 6 million registered voters.
That's right.
How many of those do you think are going to vote for Action SA?
We know that in the previous election, the turnout was quite low. It was sitting at around 61%. And the turnout has been dropping, unfortunately. In South Africa, people have stopped voting. They don't come to the voting station. And if you look at 2019 stats, versus what we saw in 2014, you'll pick up that it has dropped by about 8%. So we anticipate that it will drop again.
Okay.
So we don't expect the entire 6 million voters to come out to vote. We expect probably around 60% turnout, 61% sort of. And we're just looking for 20% of that.
Interesting. Interesting. Why would you think the voter turnout will drop? People are saying 2024 is our 1994. Load shedding is at its peak. Unemployment is 42%. About 10 million of people are unemployed. Why would voter turnout drop?
Yeah, we would have wished that South Africans will really be energized, and because, like you say, all these challenges are pointing to a failure of political establishment. So we'll have wished that South Africans will be energized to come and register and vote. But we need to be realistic and look at the trends. And the data is telling us that even in local government election that just went past 2021, the turnout was very low. If you look at the by-elections in between that local government election and now, you'll see, parties are winning by-elections by about 500 votes. I saw ANC in KZN recently. They were celebrating, the win. Was it IFP? And ANC and MK as well was featured in that by-election. IFP won that election by 500 votes. You know, so and all these by-elections that we've been participating in, because we have also been participating in by-election, we are noticing that people are really tired of voting, and we understand why. So we understand that, you know, people feel that they've been failed by the political establishment, and they think that the solution is to stay at home, which is really quite unfortunate. And it's our role as politicians and political parties to turn that situation around. But yeah, I think for now, realistically, I see the turnout dropping again.
Let me jump in there. As your chairperson of Action SA in Gauteng, and I think one of your roles is to grow the support. I mean, we are a few months away. How will you then turn around the low turn up or the participation of in terms of voting? How will you do that, especially among young people?
Yeah, so I mean, for us, we need to look at our own voters and see how we turn them out on the day of election.
Yes.
We have been canvassing, we've been campaigning since the People's Dialogue. You know, we have not stopped campaigning since when Herman Mashaba resigned and started the People's Dialogue, and then Action SA was born. Since then, we have been on the ground. You know, and that's why we've got close to about 250,000 members, registered members with membership numbers.
Is this the national or Gauteng?
This is a national.
Okay.
This is a national. And we now have representation in all the 9 provinces. Here in Gauteng, we contested only 3 municipalities, if you remember, in 2021, the metros, you know. But now I can confirm that we've got branches in all the 9 municipalities in Gauteng, from your Mfuleni or Mogale City, Rand West, you know, we are there, you know. So we're going to focus on turning out our own members. We've got strategies that we have put in place, working together with our volunteers, and we'll do as much as possible to ensure that we get to our objectives.
We're about to take a break, but I want to first answer this question. Key to every election by every political party or independent candidate is money. Action SA is one of those parties that have appeared moneyed. It's out there, it's on billboards, it's on everywhere. How does Action SA raise money, or where does the Action SA money come from?
Sure, you know, our volunteers are fighting with us. We don't have gazebos as we speak now. We don't have T-shirts. You know, we're struggling. We are one of the unfortunate parties because people compare us with established organizations. We are punching beyond our weight, basically, because people think that we are ANC and DA competitors. Therefore, we must have. But the honest truth is that you know, money comes from our donors. Most of them local people who, because the act says only local people can donate. You know, but that's where the money comes from. And currently, as we are talking to you, we are raising money amongst our own councillors. You know, our own councillors are donating. You know, people have applied to become candidates to go to parliament, to become MPs. They are also contributing towards ensuring that we are ready for the election. But it's tough. It's very tough. We don't get you know, the grant that other political parties are getting from parliament and from the legislature. We only depend on Mr. Mashaba's you know, family really, you know, bringing us to where we are, and the additional funding that we get from donors.
You don't have funders from overseas lining up to fund you?
No, it's South Africans. I mean, I think we do declare every quarter. You have seen the Moshals, you have seen some of the families, the rich families in South Africa. You know, you have seen others that you probably have not recognized their names. They're there, but people donate to us, you know. And what is important is that there's no condition to donate into Action SA. We have got our own policies that were adopted by a policy conference that we had in September, but we are also guided by the People's Dialogue report, which consulted over 2.5 million.
Unemployment is very high in the country, especially in Gauteng as well. I mean, especially in young people. How will your government look like in Gauteng?
Yeah, look, I mean, we, as I said, we just came out from our own policies. We will launch our manifesto, a national manifesto, on the 16th of March. It will be launched here in Gauteng. I hope you guys will join us.
Are you filling a stadium as well?
No.
Is it F&B?
We don't have money. Yeah. No, but yeah, no, I mean, we don't compete in that league. We are still three political party. Very humble. You know, there's a lot of things that needs to be fixed in South Africa. But I can tell you, from our own point of view, one of the basic things, key things that we need to work on is the rule of law. You know, you can't do a lot of things without it. You won't be able to grow the economy, and therefore you won't be able to create work and jobs that people need if you don't have the rule of law in this country. You know, and that has gone out of the window altogether. You know,
unpack that for our viewers. What does the rule of law entail?
So here we are talking about the arresting the lawlessness, and I'll make an example with Johannesburg, because we are in Joburg, and I think Joburg it's key towards really resolving the issues of this country. If we can get it right, Johannesburg, others will follow. In Johannesburg, bylaws are not being respected, you know, and I'm specifically referring to local government, because I'm going to take charge of Gauteng as a province, but you won't be able to do anything in the province if you don't fix local government. You need to ensure that bylaws are respected. So there are bylaws in city of Johannesburg, but those bylaws are not being implemented and are not being enforced, you know, to the T by those that are supposed to do so. And there's many reasons that, you know, politicians will give you, officials will also give you a lot of excuses. But the truth is that we have allowed lawlessness by not, you know, effectively enforcing bylaws. You know, we are talking about the crime rate that is spiraling out of control in South Africa, and this crime rate can be arrested by making sure that you've got efficient police. You know, we are of the view that the commissioner of the police, you know, needs to be appointed independently. You know, we need to make sure that we remove politicians out of that decision so that they can be able to do their work without any interference. The same goes to the NPA, for example. NPA reports to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services. You know, he's the one that goes to Parliament and asks for budget increases. How is NPA Batoyi going to hold ANC government accountable and arrest their politicians if she's always with a begging ball going to them asking for budget? So our view is that they must account to Parliament, right? And Parliament must be the one that gives them budget, that holds them accountable. So those are some of the things that we need to fix. But we need more feet on the ground. I mean, Panyaza is talking about Amapanyaza and the crime wardens. I must tell you, Nyaniso and colleagues, that we support devolution of police to provinces. You know, the SAPS as it is really is not effective, and we can say we've got community safety in the province, but they don't have any teeth. Right. So we want SAPS powers to be devolved to provincial government. Of course, we've got metropolis. We are happy with that. We just need to remove corruption there, deal with it decisively. But we want more feet on the ground. And what Panyaza was doing, the idea was good. The implementation was flawed.
So in principle, you support Amapanyaza. Obviously, you call it under a different name.
Funzi.
Yeah, I've seen politicians going that route. That's what we need to remove. Political interference in law enforcement. You know, people need to come and work and be professional and do their work. We must be far away from them. The only time that we engage with them is when we do oversight. You know, but we must give them freedom to do their work. They must not be scared to arrest us when we infringe the law. And equally, you know, and when we have to be arrested, we must be arrested without any fee. You know, so giving names like Amapanyaza, no, it's not his fault. It's us. That, you know, but why we did that, because he's quite involved. You know, he's the one that calls them to stadium, give them letters of appointments. Those things needs to be removed. You know, we can't allow a situation where politicians are the one that are giving people you know, letters of appointment. Because that's supposed to be an administrative issue. You know, so we need to fix those things. We need to change the culture. we know that it's going to be difficult. It's not going to happen overnight. But Mashaba was doing it in the city of Johannesburg. We came in the city of Johannesburg. Cadres were all over. Nyaniso, others. but we worked with those that wanted to work, right? And we were working towards professionalizing public service. We were acknowledging good work, and that's what we want, and we were changing the mentality. The culture was changing, and people were enjoying coming to work, because we were not interfering with what they were doing. We're not pushing them to give tenders to so and so, which is the case in.
So you're practicing good governance.
Exactly.
Just hold it there. I want us to talk unemployment. How is Action SA going to solve the 10 million South Africans who are unemployed?
Mhlakazi, before you throw your question about, I know you can, you're itching to ask that question, but I want to ask this question while we're, in the last segment, you spoke about the rule of law, but I want to throw this as well, because I know your president as well, Mr. Herman Mashaba, is very passionate about it. And while he had a stint in Johannesburg, the issue of illegal immigrants in South Africa, what's your stance?
Yeah, I think I see a lot of parties have come on board. There's ATM, there's Gauteng McKenzie's party and others. They've, and it's great, I think when Mashaba started speaking about this issue, he was already labeled all kinds of things, the xenophobia. At some point he was referred to the Human Rights Commission to go and answer as to why he's asking people to respect the,
to be legal.
Our position is quite clear that we want people of the world to come to South Africa. We want them to come and invest here. We want them to come here and enjoy our beautiful country. Go to Durban and tourism. But when they're here, we are saying they must respect our laws, and if they fail to do so, they must go back home. So that's what we believe in, and our policies have confirmed the view that started really being cultivated by Mr. Mashaba himself and some of us. So illegal immigration is a huge issue, and it cannot be undermined, and we must continue pushing. Recently, the minister came up with a bill, the immigration bill, which we commented on it. We also submitted our comments to him in Pretoria about a few weeks ago. So we know that even ANC itself and the minister are doing all this because it's election year, and they want to be seen as if they can respond to what South Africans have been calling for and have been asking to be taken seriously on. You cannot every time when people are saying we are suffering, and he says, but you guys are lazy. Why don't you come up with your own initiative? As if South Africans have never lived with foreigners before. We have lived with them, but there was enough for all of us, and now there's not enough, and we want them to be prioritized as South Africans. So we are quite clear on that. We will deport people, but we will welcome those that wants to come legally here. We'll make it easy for them to be able to do work here and invest here. Yeah, so that's really our position.
Cool. Unemployment is very rife in South Africa, and the broad definition of unemployment suggests that about 10 million actively looking for employed people are unemployed. Employable people who are ready to walk into any industry and start working. How would Action SA address unemployment? Gauteng is hard hit because a lot of people is flooding to Gauteng to look for better opportunities. How would you address it?
Look, like I said at the beginning, and I want to emphasize, colleagues, that we won't be able to do that without firstly addressing the issue of the rule of law and bringing confidence to investors that if you bring your money here in Gauteng, and you are sitting here, you are doing a show, nobody will come in and rob you of your cameras, and take your belongings and go and sell them, for nothing. So we need to give them confidence that the money that they're going to spend here, invest here, it won't be lost because somebody decided to take the law out of their hands. So importantly, what we want to do is to really bring industries back into Johannesburg. You correctly saying about the high unemployment rate, but if you look at that employment rate, you'll find not only the youth, but you'll actually find people who are over 35 years old who have lost their jobs. Why? Because factories have closed. Why? Because companies are resizing and all of it, and you look at even the youth itself. We were celebrating the exams, the matric pass rate, but 500,000 of those kids dropped out, before they got to matric. Where are they? They are unskilled. And we are counting them in that percentage. So where are they going to get unskilled jobs when there are no factories? Factories have closed down. You look around Johannesburg, all these factories that used to operate here have shut down. People have taken their money, they went somewhere else, either to Namibia or even to Botswana, or some of them they've gone back to Europe and so forth. We need to bring them back, and for us, that's going to absorb a lot of unskilled labor. Once we can get all those factories. I come from the Free State originally. I know when you drive towards Botshabelo or between Bloemfontein and Botshabelo, there were factories there. All those factories are dormant. If you go to places like Kwakwale in the Free State, factories are dormant. You go here to Babelechi in Garankuwa, those factories are dormant. You go to Broken Spruit, Ekangala there. Those factories, some of them are operating. Last time I went there, but there's no power most of the time. So we need to fix the issue of load shedding. We need to give confidence to the investors that if they come here, their investment are safe. Those are some of the things that we need to do. But we are also looking at young people that are leaving school. So as Action SA, we have adopted a policy that we're going to take those that are not going to tertiary education, take them into national service, so that they can go into police, they can go into the force, they can go into hospitals, and get experience. Like it used to happen where people used to go to the force, to the army, and get a lot of experience, even in terms of using their hands, and come back better people. They start their own businesses. So those are some of the things that we are looking at in making sure that we can be able to create more. But we are also looking at sectors like your agriculture as well. We're looking at really empowering young people there, so that they can be able to start their own businesses. Young people wants to farm, but they don't have opportunities. Opportunities when they come, they don't get to be mentored even much. So we want to work with white people. White farmers that are there. And we are quite proud about it and unapologetic that we're going to work with white people. We're going to bring them here so that they can be able to help our black people, black young people, to be able to be better farmers and so forth. So we are quite open to that, and we're going to ensure that we implement it.
Okay. A quick one. What industry? Obviously, there are no quick wins, but what industries or what skills should we be focusing on for young people to, in fact, to be able to create jobs? What should we be focusing on?
Yeah, the issue of solar and energy production. I think it's becoming quite important. We're talking just as we are working here to say how are we going to resolve issues of load shedding. We need alternative power, and there's no doubt that we still need coal, and we must be able to explore nuclear and other things. But that's where skills are required. We need young people to be skilled on developing, new energies, new infrastructure. That's where we need them. We need IT. We were talking about education with a colleague of mine to say, really, the type of education that we are producing in South Africa, is it going to allow our young people to be able to go to other countries and really make money there? We know Chinese, when they are in high school, they're already doing a lot of things technologically, But here, it's something else. We need to get our schools in townships to be at the same level as the schools in the suburbs. That is possible. We've got so much money that is sitting in the treasury that is being spent on education, but that money is somewhere. It's being lost somewhere without really improving our schools. And without that, it's also going to be a problem for us.
Would you work in a coalition arrangement to govern the country or the province with the DA?
Yes, we will. We're already in a multi-party charter with them. We have agreed that we'll work with them. We need more partners there. We have made it clear to the DA and other parties that we need more people to join us. I mean, parties like the PA, Mzansi, depending how they feel themselves, because I think some of them have taken a position that they will only engage after elections. The challenge with engaging after elections is that we only have about 14 days, to be able to form government. Know? And that's when you start rushing negotiations and putting things together, and then you fail. So we have learned from that experience. That is why we are engaging before. We are looking at where we can be able to agree and disagree and put all those disagreement aside and focus on things that bring us together. So
what would be at the center of those engagement? What is it that you'd say as Action SA, this is where we stand?
Yeah, corruption, public enemy number one. Immigration, we must deal with it. It's there, economic infrastructure, we must agree. In fact, we want to go to the detail of saying, when we take power, which are the first infrastructure that we're going to develop? Which bridge are we going to start building? Which schools are we going to start? So when we do the budget, it must go to that detail, and we must agree that this is what's going to guide us. Instead of fighting over positions, we must fight over which bridge must be developed first and why. How much is it going to bring in terms of return of investment, and how many jobs is going to create. So we must argue about those things rather than arguing about positions.
So, Mr. Ngobeni, thank you for joining us, and good luck with the elections. You've heard
Thank you very much.
That was Funzi Ngobeni, the chairperson of Gauteng for Action SA. Are you convinced that they can take over and govern the country? You've been watching The Sheds. Bye-bye.